The Narcissist's Double Abuse. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Those who are familiar with an ensnarement with a narcissist know that it entails abuse. This is known as devaluation. There are corrective devaluations, wrist slaps, short sharp shocks, which are meted out against secondary, both intimate and non-intimate, and tertiary, both intimate and non-intimate sources. Friends, colleagues, booty calls, side piece, family members, strangers and acquaintances. The narcissist utilises those corrective devaluations as a means of asserting control or nullifying a threat to control so as to keep or bring the relevant appliance under control and draw fuel from them. There is also the sustained devaluation. This is the preserve of the primary source, usually an intimate partner primary source, the spouse, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the cohab, the partner. This is where there are repeated and often more entrenched unpleasant behaviours meted out towards that victim. Thus, devaluation appears in two forms, corrective and sustained. What are those devaluations? Well, these forms of abuse are legion. It covers such things as infidelity, whether it's sexual, physical, emotional, financial, or intellectual. It covers physical violence, sexual violence, triangulation, smearing, silent treatments, triangulation, invalidation, belittlement, using a vulnerability of the victim against them, sexual withdrawal, bullying, intimidation, denial, deflection, asset appropriation, triangulation with children, the use of threat, and so much more besides. There are hundreds upon hundreds of different types of devaluation, and they all come under the heading of a form of abuse, where those behaviours are engaged in on a repeated and habitual basis, either, for instance, repeated silent treatments or a range of different devaluations, but they are done on a systemic basis. This is abuse. It's not somebody with an anger management problem. It's not somebody who's highly strung or high maintenance. It is abusive behaviour. Many people recognise that it's abusive, but of course they don't realise what's really behind it, and they think that they are just intermittent episodes in what is otherwise a good relationship. They are, of course, being conned. They're being conned because they don't realise that they're dealing with a narcissist, and they're being conned by their emotional thinking, which prevents them from seeing that somebody who is decent does not behave in an abusive way. But for most people, they are able to recognise that these behaviours are abusive. They might not know what's driving them, they may not realise that it involves narcissism, but they realise that being shouted at regularly is abusive, being punched is abusive, being locked out of your house in the cold is abusive, being isolated from friends and family is abusive, having your finances controlled is abusive, being stolen from is abusive, being shoved and slapped is abusive, being repeatedly cheated on is abusive, being repeatedly compared to other people is abusive, and so on and so forth. And this, if you will, is the traditional or familiar nature of abuse. But in order to help you understand and drive down your emotional thinking and enable you to achieve freedom, it's important to understand that we always engage in a form of double abuse. We engage in the devaluing behaviours. They may vary in extent and application. They may vary in the effect that it has upon the recipient. Some people are devalued by the fact that they're shelved, picked up and put down and used at the convenience of the narcissist. Other people are abused through the devaluation of severe physical violence. But there is another form of abuse, and this is the form of abuse that people don't realise, and it's during the seduction. When we come along, we invariably flatter, compliment, bribe. We appear supportive, fun, interesting. We may give you great sex, take you to interesting places, introduce you to our families, tell you all about our lives, want to know all about your lives, meet your friends, plan for holidays, weddings, having children, setting home up together, sharing interests, lending you money, asking to borrow money and telling you that we'll repay it. We present as charming, interesting, magnetic, fun, scintillating, exciting, sexual, charismatic. We make you feel special. We make you feel the centre of the universe. And this, of course, is the love bombing, the golden period. For some of you, you did not get the golden period. You got a bronze period, where basically you were treated okay, and you certainly weren't treated badly, but you didn't get all of the glitter and unicorns of the golden period. People make the mistake of thinking that all of that was the narcissist being a good person, and it was genuine, and that it went wrong because of an external event, or that the victim did something wrong to cause it to descend into the devaluing behaviour. And they think that basically the narcissist operates in a part-time manner. We do not. We are narcissists, and everything that we do which involves another person is a form of manipulation. And it's either a benign form of manipulation or a malign form of manipulation. When we say that you look beautiful, we're manipulating you. When we tell you that you look ugly and we insult you, we are manipulating you. When we buy you a gold ring, we're manipulating you. When we forget your birthday, we are manipulating you. When we take you out for dinner, we are manipulating you. When we tell you that we can't be asked to go anywhere with you and that we want you to go to McDonald's for us, we're manipulating you. The good is a manipulation. The bad is a manipulation, because where it involves another person, we need the prime aims, and our narcissism decrees that everything that we do or think about doing with another individual amounts to a form of manipulation, either instinctive and unaware, where lesser or mid-range narcissists, or aware and calculated, where greater and ultra-narcissists. People think, mistakenly, that when we're nice to you, when we're pleasant to you, when we're fun and exciting and charming, that's genuine. It's certainly real. You didn't imagine it. It did happen, but it isn't genuine. It is a fabrication. It's an artifice. It's manufactured. It's an illusion. It's fakery. Your cognitive dissonance and your emotional thinking cause you to struggle to accept this. But he must have loved me. He said and did all of those wonderful things. No. Our narcissism compelled us to give you the impression of love because we have learned. Our narcissism knows how to fabricate that to draw you in. Because if we didn't do that, we wouldn't get any victims. If the lion in the grassland was painted neon pink and neon green with bells and whistles and lights, he wouldn't catch any gazelle. He has to blend in. He has to be unobtrusive so that the lion can then strike from amongst the grass, unseen, unnoticed. In the same way, we must blend in. We must make you think that we are like you, kind, considerate, fun, interesting, charming, etc. So you have no defences towards us, that you positively embrace us, and thus you become easier to control and easier to obtain the prime aims from. In order to do this, our narcissism causes us to fake that person that first comes along. The mirroring, the flattery, the compliments, the bribery, the interest, the concern, the apparent support. It's all manufactured. It isn't genuine because we don't possess emotional empathy. So we cannot be kind to you based on a trait of honesty or decency or compassion. We do not have those traits. We merely fabricate them. And not all narcissists do, of course. The more base and rudimentary of our kind barely muster anything close to that. But the mid-range, the greater and the ultra are particularly accomplished at demonstrating those various traits, so you become conned. But what you must keep in mind, and tell yourself this as you maintain your no-contact regime and fight against your emotional thinking. I was with an abuser. I was abused in the devaluing, and I was abused in seduction. This person conned me into believing that they loved me. I was conned into believing that they cared for me. I was conned into believing that they were kind and considerate and supportive. In a way, you should be just as angry, to begin with at least, as to the conning that took place as you were to the way that you were badly treated. You have been badly treated twice. In effect, we came bearing 2 shit sandwiches, but the first one was covered in sugar, so you didn't realise, and the second one was more obvious. But the simple fact is this: the narcissist always engages in double abuse, the fakery of the seduction and the horror of devaluation, and you would do well to keep that as watchword to your heart and at the centre of your logical thinking, so that you remain guarded against creeping emotional thinking that might tell you otherwise. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.